Thank you so much for coming. Welcome. Happy Women's History Month. Yes. Thank you. My name is Alyssa Rausch. I'm the Associate Director of Civil Rights here in Equity and Compliance. And I'm very excited and honored to welcome you to our second annual Women at Work. To this beautiful space. So we love hosting it here. It's a very beautiful venue, especially, I don't know, the clock will not fall on you. But thank you. And just to pay homage to our RISD founders. RISD's Founders Day is on March 22nd, so we try to coordinate this event leading up to Founders Day because RISD was founded by women. So we try, I know, yes. So we try to tie it all together. Through the captivating photography and storytelling exhibition, this was up all week, and it will forever live in maybe not forever, but right now forever, it will live in Washington Place with the others from last year. Adam Mastoon, where are you? Up there, yes. Adam is our photographer and storyteller who works and does amazing things with Morco's Key, which is the designer. So they do the heavy lift for the first part of the year, and then I and my committee put on this event. So I just wanted to shout you out. You're amazing, and we love you so much. So through that photography and storytelling exhibition, we celebrate the indomitable spirit, resilience, and achievement of these amazing individuals from last year and continuing on throughout the years of this event, who have been profoundly impacted by women in the workplace or in life, by their own womanhood or by others' womanhood. It just so happens that y'all are all women. They did not have to be. The goal and spirit of Women at Work is that women impact our life in either visible or invisible ways. And so this event brings it to light. How are we impacted by women? How is RISD impacted by women in the work that we do, in our volunteerism, in our craft, etc. And work is very, whatever that means to you, whatever that means to them. So whatever work means, how is women and womanhood impacting that? So that's kind of the idea. These folks participated in the storytelling vulnerability that Adam puts them through, and we love that. And so that's, if you get to read, please read. It's also on the website, so if you don't have time tonight to go read, it lives on our website on the program. You can visit it there. So please take a look, read their stuff, come by Washington Place to read sometime. And so again, we pay homage to our visionary founders. We provide a platform for the impact for women to be heard and celebrated. And before I introduce these lovely folks, I want to also acknowledge that there are 4 portraits and 3 of them. Dominique could not make it today, so I'm going to read her bio just so you know who Dominique is if you don't already. So Dominique Wright, she's with 4 years of custodial management experience. She is a proud custodial supervisor here at RISD. She oversees operations across residence halls and various buildings, ensuring cleanliness and safety. Passionate about fostering a strong, healthy work environment, Dominique focuses on fair workload management while keeping her team in mind. Her background spans healthcare, retail, warehouse operations, food, and hospitality. She is committed to continually improving the buildings she oversees to benefit everyone, students and staff alike. As a strong advocate for working people, Dominique believes the true value of any job lies in connecting with diverse individuals and creating a positive workplace environment. Yes, snaps are appreciated. Yes. Love on her even though she can't make it. Additionally, I want to thank my committee members. So Adam and Morco's Key put the initiative together. My team lifts this event specifically. So my committee members who helped me breathe life into this event today: Alicia Luzon. Yes, I know. Amelia Ariana. Emrys Hyatt. Yes, up there. Okay. That's okay. Just so happened to work out. Maria Toprani. Yes. And Nicole Verardo. I want to thank the Fleet Library staff, Media Resources, and RISD Catering specifically for those empanadas. Yes, please. Thank you. And again, Adam, thank you so much for being a partner in this for the past 2 years. This would never have left my Google Docs without you. So thank you, I appreciate that. And then for now, I would like to turn it over to Claire Robinson, one of our participants, to perform some poetry for y'all, and then we'll get our panel started.
Thank you. Thank you, Alyssa. And part of my identity, and it's not one that I get to share at RISD that much, is that I am a poet. And I do talk about that in my writing piece. And I'm just trying to put that out there more with this community. So Alyssa very kindly agreed to let me read one of my poems to start off with. And I chose one that is inspired by the work of Womxn Shire, and it's really more of a prayer, and I think it is very applicable to what we're going through right now as a country, how I feel personally, and I think ends with kind of a wish for coming together. So it's called "When We Come to the Place, We Will Know It." We pluck omens out of our mouths, from between our teeth. The flames lick us, but we do not burn, not much. We search for a place of peace, fortune-free, where we can halt. Our eyes stitch the sky with prayer. The ground is littered with bones and boulders, like dreaming bodies. Rest is the water we cannot douse. One thing, our thirst unquenchable. The future flees, a lover we can never truly have. Moment of grace, come reassemble us, pick up our bones and boulders and build. Moment of love, let the blood push through our veins like angry rivers. Let us entangle each other, windswept rushes on the silted shore of eternity. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. And last but certainly not least, who is this woman? I would like to thank Kajet Solomon. She is our moderator for today's panel. She is RISD's first. She works in the museum. She's our first social equity and inclusion specialist, specifically in the museum. She's not new. She's just the first, she's not new. Her role endeavors to shape, implement, and manage the museum's efforts to build an equitable, diverse, and inclusive institution for all. Kajet is a graduate of the inaugural class of the Rhode Island Foundation's Equity Leadership Initiative Professional Development Program and is a board member of the New England Museum Association. Kajet is a co-curator of the touring exhibit, yes ma'am, touring exhibit. It's in Brooklyn. The Nancy Elizabeth Prophet, I Will Not Bend an Inch, as well as a co-editor of the accompanying publication. Her writing is included in the recent collection From Small Wins to Sweeping Change, Working Together to Foster Equity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism in Museums, and was the 2024 awardee of the American Alliance of Museums recognition for the advancement of diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. Yeah, please. She holds a Bachelor of Art in Art History from Arcadia University and a Master's in Modern and Contemporary Art History, Theory, and Criticism from Purchase College. A proud Jamaican immigrant raised in New York, a wife to her childhood best friend, and a mom of 2 amazing children. I turn it over to our moderator and let you all take it away for the night. Y'all are done hearing from me. Kajet Solomon.
Thank you. It's a wonderful evening. Blessings and greetings, everyone. I'd like to start by thanking Equity and Compliance and Alyssa and her team for putting this event together. It's wonderful. And I know sometimes initiatives start at RISD, but I'm so grateful that this is in year number 2. And to the wonderful panelists, Rebecca, Melinda, and Claire, thank you so much. And we're going to learn more about you tonight. Okay. Ready for question number one? And you can go in order if you want, this way, but if something is on top of your spirit and you must get it out, feel free. So first question, as this is in Women's History Month, first question, what does being a woman mean to you? Do you want to, Melinda or Claire, you can start?
The problem is now we're all women, we're all like...
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys read my piece, you would know the answer to that question. No, I'm just kidding. I think that I did really think about that in the we all came together to write, and so that was one of the questions that was offered up to think on, and I think it's at the end of my piece I say it's constant and just is kind of like the ocean. I think it's kind of like the air we all breathe, but that air is full of like worrying and emotions and planning and carrying things for other people and picking up dirty napkins off the floor and joyful, moments of togetherness. And it's kind of, it's too big of a thing to fully really express, kind of like God, not to put myself in that category, but I don't.
Oh gosh, this is a question that I'm like, do I even know the answer? I wrote about it, I thought about it, but like, do I even really know? I think it really echoes everything Claire has just said, but in addition, it's, the kindness and empathy, but it's rage and it's anger and it's, and I think my perception of what being a woman has changed every day my entire life. No 2 days have I been like, today I am woman A, and tomorrow I am woman A, and the next day I'm woman A. It's like I'm A.26 today, and and so I just, to me, it's just this ever-changing, morphing kind of experience where the emotions are, wonder and awe some days and anger and frustration the others. And it really is, it feels like just like dictated by what happens when I open my eyes in the morning. Yeah, it's just ever changing and morphing for me. So.
I don't know how to follow God, but I guess
the
we can all just
devil,
go
of
home
course.
now. I don't know. Yeah. I guess I wrote down, I'm a writer too, so I had to write things down. But some of the things that came to mind when I was thinking about what does being a woman mean to me, and some of the top things were loving and caring deeply, even when you don't maybe know the thing or the person very closely. So I think women have this capacity to love something or care for something without maybe fully understanding it right away. I think it's making sacrifices with, while having faith that in the long term it'll lead to something really good. I think when I reflect on my life and being a woman, that's something that I think a lot about. And just generally feeling things deeply, but that being not really a weakness, more of a superpower, because it's that fire that drives you forward. To feel something and feel inspired and emotional about something is really great fuel for action, I think. So that's my thought.
Can I just say, I think, to be a little more serious, this question of all the questions was really hard for me to answer, and almost, I don't want to say gave me the ick, and it's not I don't think it's the question at all. I think it's because beyond the just Dove ads, you go girl, you're strong, you know what I mean? We're not really encouraged to think about it or take it seriously. I think in a deeper way that this question's kind of getting at, and I think it's just interesting in my own self to notice that kernel of shame or hesitation to even want to answer that question, because I feel like it's not like a worthy question to be answering. And I think that's like a societal thing.
Yes. Yes to all of that. Yes and yes. That's a wonderful way to think about the big, big word of woman and how we can internalize certain things and also want to challenge the notion. And sometimes, is it okay to embrace womanhood? That's also a thing. Yeah. So, next question. How did growing up, or where you grew up, shape your idea of womanhood?
This was my main topic. This was my writing piece. I grew up in Farmtown, USA. I grew up in central Minnesota. The accent will come out if I let it. Don't worry. I did spend a lot of time in Fargo, North Dakota, so there's that too. But for me, I was born right outside of Minneapolis, and my parents both came from large families, 6 and 7 families. I don't know why I'm feeling so emotional about this right now, but families with such large families. And they moved us, my younger sister and I, from just outside of Minneapolis to Rockville, Minnesota, which literally no one has heard of. And even when I say the closest city, they're like, what? I'm like, I'm an hour north of Minneapolis. I don't know what to tell you. And that is like an area where women are either brought up in these very deeply rooted Christian value families, where they grow up in families of 13 women, and their goal in life is to be a wife and mother and to further that and have large families of 13 people. But then I also graduated with women who came from families of 6 where every single one of them is a dairy farmer. They are all running their own farms now. They are business women in a very, interesting thing that folks who grow up in a city have no idea what that could mean. And so for me it was and then having 2 parents who grew up in the city who are like, you can be who you want to be, you can do what you want to do, you can tell people to kick rocks if you need to. It's okay to be who you are. And so I think that, even in the last question of what does it mean to be a woman, I think it took a long time for me to actually understand, because I think for a while I thought that was going to be my life, grow up, marry a farmer, and that was going to be it. And I didn't. I left Minnesota, right? I was like, I'm not going to be another person who just lives here for the rest of my life. I'm not just going to live in Farmville, USA for the rest of my life. I'm going to go see what else the world can bring me. And that brought me to Providence, Rhode Island, and married with stepchildren, and and so it was just it started with this very specific thought of kind of trad wife almost for a while, which can feel scary and have negative connotations when you think about it in a lot of terms now. But but those women are inspirations as well. They knew what they wanted, they followed their gut, they did what makes sense to them, and that has molded my life just as much as my parents, who have told me and taught me everything that I know about being independent and caring for myself and caring for others and fixing stuff on my own and doing those things. And so it's an interesting place to grow up in central Minnesota, and then give yourself this massive culture shock to be like, yeah, I'm moving to New England and living right outside of Boston, and I've been here for almost 10 years. So it's every day. It's a new experience, and learning, where you live can really impact who you are as a person.
Yeah, once Rhode Island sucks you in, it's over.
It's I heard myself the other day being like, well, if I got to leave Rhode Island, I don't think I want to do it. And my neighbors across the street, we're literally on the state line. Our neighbors across the street are in Mass, and I was like, I don't know.
We don't go over there.
I don't know if I can do that today.
Growing up, I lived in a lot of places, and we moved a lot. But I mostly, with this question, thought about who I was surrounded with and the women in my life. First thinking about family and how a lot of the women in my immediate family were mothers, wives, were entrepreneurs. They worked. Some of them stayed at home. Some of them were the sort of kind and gentle, and others were unapologetically aggressive. And so, like, exposure to sort of all of those different ways of being a woman, and I kind of talked a little bit about this in my blurb, but just kind of opened up to that there's like so many ways to be a woman. It's such, like we talked about, a big word. It's like it encompasses so much, and you don't have to stick to one particular. I mean, you were kind of saying that, like, you go after what you want and it can be different every day. And that's sort of what I learned from my immediate family, and a similar theme, I guess, is my beautiful friends, like my closest friends, who have shown me that, like, you can discover new parts of yourself and you can really explore those parts of yourself and be more, understand yourself better all the time. And it doesn't, you don't have to be sort of like locked into what you were in the past or what you could be in the future. It's just very fluid. So that's where I reflected on that.
I grew up in Chicago, but my parents are from a town in southern Illinois called Mattoon. It's about 20,000 people. My mother, who's right there, Paula, went to medical school in the late 60s and was one of a handful of women in her med school class. Yeah, and, never really, like, made a big deal of it, but, when you're one of, like, 5% of the class is, female, it's kind of a big deal. And my father's sisters, who stayed in Mattoon, were both, like, one ran a nursing program at a college, another was a lawyer. So I grew up with a lot of examples of really strong femininity around me, and women who were, went after careers that they were really passionate about. My mother continued to do professional, she was the editor she's a psychiatrist, a journal, and was always at conferences. We would go with her. So she was really like an amazing example of, putting yourself first, I think, in your career, and doing what you are passionate about. And so for me, that was a huge influence.
Fantastic. Shout out, Mom. Hey, thanks for being here. That's wonderful. That's so wonderful. Now I'm starting to reflect on the ground or the soil in which I was raised. It's interesting. And I'm Jamaican, y'all. So Jamaican women, whoo, I love them. Okay, and I'm grateful. So getting a little bit to all of the positives and negatives that come with womanhood, what were some expectations that have been placed on you? Which ones have you sort of accepted and which ones have you rejected?
Famously, for those people who know me, I once had a manager here at RISD who told me that I would do a lot better if I would smile more, that I could be a real leader. No, they're gone. No. So I think, like, that expectation that you have to be, like, it's not that you can't be kind and personable and caring, but that you have to wear some kind of a mask over your true personality to really be professional, I really reject. And I think, a lot of people do at this point in time, but, like, that's really changed even since I've entered the workplace in the past, 25 years. I think one of the things that I love about being at RISD is that people, the people you form relationships with do accept you for who you are, and they know you for who you are, and you can be who you are in your job, and that's really wonderful. So I think that's really positive, and I've had a lot of really strong working relationships and friendships form here that I like deeply, deeply treasure. Amanda Wright, sitting there in the middle of the audience, is one. So just what amazing women that I've met at RISD that I think are really special, and that's been really nice.
I don't know if I have an answer, but
You can interpret it however feels comfortable for you.
I guess an expectation, and I kind of talked a little bit about it, but I think often there's an expectation with women to make sacrifices. Not that men or other identities don't make sacrifices, but there's an expectation, almost like change your last name, you move wherever your partner moves. So there's kind of like that. I think it's changing more and more, but there's sometimes you can feel it here and there in life, and I don't know if I reject it as much as I acknowledge it and actively choose which sacrifices to make. That kind of how I mentioned that I see maybe making a beautiful life in the long run. So that's kind of maybe a weak answer, but.
I think the sentiment is just the same, right? Like across the board, it's the like sentiment of having to be gentle all the time, be kind all the time, be the rememberer all the time, carrying like the emotional weight of other people, always having to be empathetic. Like I have, I think, ridden a roller coaster my whole life on being like the empathetic person in the room and also being like the one who's gonna tell you to like kick rocks, right? Like, is it okay if I kick you in the shins today? And it's received so differently all the time, right? And I think the ever-changing expectations of women can be really exhausting, and so I just try to just be me, like I try to just show up authentically in every room that I enter. I know when I have to like kind of curb that in a little bit and be like, these are not my people, so like maybe be a little bit different, but like that's for me, that's not for them, I'm not like trying to save their feelings in it. It's the like, I just don't really want to deal with your feelings. I know that sounds so like sharp and like with an edge, but it's sort of just, I've just kind of learned, when do I need to soften a little bit, and again, that's for me, that's not really for them. So
Yeah, totally agree. So back to thinking about our place that we're in, which is RISD. What are some challenges you've encountered as women in the workplace? And if it's not RISD, anywhere else you've worked, and how have you navigated them?
I'm a system administrator on campus. I oversee, for folks that don't know, I am the Associate Director for Housing Operations and Residence Life, which means that I manage all of the room assignments on campus for 1,450 students. RISD is a cool place because there are a lot of women doing system administration in the like technical background pieces. Like there are like people with high titles in IT who are women, right? That is really cool to me. But I still sometimes get questioned if I understand what like the back end code needs to be to make sure that students can pick their room on campus, right? I'm like, I wrote the code. Like, and this is not like a RISD specific thing, but like I have been very blessed to have been trained by numerous women who have done this job, right? But that is not the norm in the field of student life, and in like housing operations, it's usually men. It is really interesting sometimes to talk to those folks who do something similar to what I do on campus, but they're men, and then they wonder like, where did you learn to do that? It's like, I can read, I can, like I know how to learn things, right? And so it's more of the, like, I think it's the surprise that I get from folks that really sets me off a little bit of like, yes, I am capable of doing this. I did write that code. And that is why the student sees this when they log into the portal, or, you know, any other thing when it comes to housing operations.
It's probably my fault because I struggle with the printer. So that's probably...
It's not your fault.
It might be where that
It's not
comes
your fault.
from. No.
It's not your fault.
I don't know if like challenges that I've experienced maybe are fully tied to being a woman, but I think like in general navigating sort of professional, I guess, settings or in a job or career in general, I guess it's always been a challenge, and it might be tied to conflicting priorities and different things pulling attention in different directions, but just finding sort of a path and a direction of where I might want to go professionally. So that, I'm still reflecting on whether that's like fully tied to being a woman or not, or just, you know, indecisive. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess that was my very small answer, but reflecting on that and yeah.
So I work in special events, which is probably maybe one of the most, you know, female coded kind of arenas that you could work in. And I think it's really challenging because people don't think it's valuable. And I think that is directly tied to sexism. They think it, and they also think that it's easy to do. And I know that everybody here has planned a party and maybe even your own wedding, but like, come on now. So it's, you know, there's always points in my career and in my relationships with people where, you know, my expertise of 20 years is questioned, and that sucks. You know, it's really hard to have put in all the work. You know, I think most people who work here are not here to, you know, make bank. We're here because we love RISD and we're dedicated to the institution. Like if I wanted to pull a bigger paycheck, I could go do events for JP Morgan or something, you know, whatever. And so it's just really difficult, I think, when you have a level of expertise in a field and you're not, you know, I'm not asking to be like every decision unquestioned, but it's definitely a pattern, and I think it is difficult.
Yeah, I hear you. It does feel a little special to be here at RISD as a space that is founded by women, and accepting in a lot of ways. And then, you know, sometimes we have to deal with the outside folks. I'm like, you know, like that's where the icks come. So I hear you and honor your experiences. Do you, in the process of doing this wonderful program, RISD Women at Work, do you have any significant insights gained or something that just keeps bubbling up for you from the experience from the very beginning till now?
I think I was surprised at how hard this was for me. So I am a writer and I am used to like speaking in front of people, and I'm used to, you know, making art from my emotions and people criticizing it, which is totally cool. And, you know, I mean, creating it, I'm fine with that. That's my work. And so I have no problem with that, but there was like a level of vulnerability and just sharing parts of myself with this community that I really haven't shared before that was really difficult for me. But it felt really good to do. And I thank you to Adam for facilitating that work. And I think it is like an important thing. And for me, it's definitely part of, you know, as a woman whom I'm now 48, I'm kind of entering into a different kind of era of my life. My kid is 15. I am trying to put myself out there more, but I'm always surprised. You know, you think you've done the work and then you're like, God, this is so freaking hard. It just never gets easier. It's like you just have to keep doing it every freaking day. But it is like, I just keep like Beyonceing my way through it and just, yeah.
This was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. Right before this panel started, Adam came up to me and said, like, your photo turned out so nice. And he had said something to me during my photo shoot, like the woes of owning a body, right? Because I was feeling so many feelings during my, my portrait session, right? Like the writing, like I can make the writing happen and in a different way than people who do it all the time, right? I can do it and that was fine. But the like having my photo taken was so challenging, so much so that I like went home and I'm like telling my husband, like, I was a disaster today. like, like this is how I felt. And then did the very like woman thing of emailing Adam and being like, I'm so sorry. like, I'm so sorry that this was my experience. But to like see this photo and be like, there I am. Like, that's me. Like, I did that. And it is still every day though, like I carry that sentiment, like the woes of having a body, right? Like whatever way I feel every day, like I have this sentiment now of like, you know what? Everybody's got a body. Like that is, it didn't matter what my thoughts were before. I may have thought that in some regard before, but having another person look at me and be like, yeah, this sucks, man. like yeah, you're right. this is a weird experience that we all collectively are having. And I think it just kind of like changed my perspective and that made the experience, just a little bit easier. So like, thank you, Adam. Like, I really appreciated that.
I think for me, it was kind of a reminder in this lifelong practice of learning to celebrate myself. And I've gotten pretty good at celebrating myself, like in my head, like, well, you did it. Yeah, there was no typo in that email, you did it. That's like usually what but I know, seriously. But I think like the bigger piece of it was allowing others to celebrate me, which is always a little, I guess, uncomfortable. And I don't know why. Like you said, it's like, why is it uncomfortable? I don't understand why. But kind of being more open and opening up yourself to being complimented, being celebrated, and being acknowledged and recognized for a lot of hard work and time and effort and so, yeah, that's celebration.
That's fantastic. Celebrating yourself. Yep. I love that. So, in your professional careers, do you have any advice, not only for young professionals or women starting in their careers, but if you want to think about if you had advice for your younger self, what would that be?
Your life is going to be so weird, girl. like you are going to be doing weird stuff every day. But I think the advice that I bring to new professionals regularly is like, it's going to be hard, but be you. If you don't like that something's happening, you got to say it. Like you have to be brave enough to say, that's not it. I don't like it. That's bad. Whatever you need to say, right? Tell them to kick rocks. I don't know. But it's that, but also like you have to take care of yourself. There will be people who will look out for you, along the way. There will be people that will. And there are going to be people who are going to like put up that blinder as well, right? When you can remember that like you are here for you, right? And you do not have to be here for anyone else. That is going to be liberating for you. When you can say to yourself, like, this place will be here with or without you tomorrow. That was probably one of the most liberating things I had ever had a professional tell me. And I tell everyone that I possibly can, this place will still be standing with or without you tomorrow. So if it is not serving you anymore, it is time to go. And that is okay. We will pick up the pieces when you leave. We might be sad, right? I would be devastated. Like if my assistant director left tomorrow, like I'd be like, oh my God. But like we'll make it through, right? Like it's not like that person is not replaceable, but we can find a way through that. You do not have to carry the weight of everything that needs to be done.
I guess my advice kind of would be that the really difficult things, the things that make you really uncomfortable, in a job or a career, when you're making a difficult decision or a change that you're maybe not comfortable with, are really worth it, and they're part of that journey that brings you to the next step of where you're supposed to be, and you're always learning something. And I think in those moments of feeling most challenged and maybe down on yourself or really just uncomfortable, made a bad mistake, or not sure if you made the right decision, I think always look for the lesson in those most challenging moments. Like, what am I learning here? And like, how is this going to make me more powerful, like moving forward? I'm a fitness instructor, so that's kind of like in my brain always. Like, this is a temporary moment of feeling really uncomfortable, maybe feeling out of control, but moving through it and persevering and continuing to that next step is going to make you sort of that much more, wise or able to take on the next step.
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with what Melinda said. There's definitely no job that's worth your physical and emotional health. I think it's very easy, especially at RISD, because we are all passionate, to just dive in so hard that you kind of lose yourself. And I've definitely done that, and I've definitely worked with people who've done that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't serve the institution and it doesn't serve you. But that's a really hard lesson to learn, because our culture does not encourage that attitude, especially in women, that taking time to take care of ourselves is a valuable part of our work practice. But I think that it really is. And, always ask for more money, I think, is the other one. Because why not, Yeah.
Yes. That's a good lesson learned when I got here. I said, okay, I need 10K more. Amen. All right. So speaking of taking care of ourselves, because I think I added this question after I sent them, but it's not too hard. In what ways do you take care of yourself? What does self-care look like? I know the self-care is really like commodified now, but I'm a strong believer in caring for self. How does that look? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. I think for me, it's really important to have time to exercise, and not in a way that's about losing weight, but it's in a way about my physical and emotional health and well-being. I found that that's really important, and finding a weight neutral environment where I can do that, which I have, is really, really important and healing. And it's taken me a long time to get back to that place. I think that getting outside every day for at least 20 minutes, just to as the kids say, touch grass, is really, really important, I found. And I think making time for my writing, making time to read poetry, and also I've recently just started brushing up on my Spanish practice, which thank you to Alicia Luzon for doing Spanish language practice lunchtime sessions in the fall, because that's really wonderful. But I've taken time to do that. So I think something that you're passionate about as a hobby too is just all those things. And then of course, spending time with friends is really important.
Claire read my answer. But I guess finding quiet moments and with people that I care deeply about, sometimes alone, but maybe taking a walk with a good friend or my dog, spending time with my dog, petting her and annoying her while she's sleeping is a big one. She's like, I didn't sign up for this. And certainly moving my body, so physical movement is really big for me. I think it's what clears my mind, grounds me, helps me kind of, like I said, like relate to life in a way with like challenges. And so I think I have to do that as often as I have time. And and being outdoors for sure.
I'm relearning what self-care is, and it's been a long journey, and like not making eye contact with my husband because he'll be like, "Girl, please, you are not caring for yourself." But so I'm like, "Don't look at me." But I'm trying to relearn what self-care is. I think it's taking me a little bit longer since COVID to re-find who I want to be, and what I need to like feel good about myself or like in general. So I'm like actively seeking a new hobby in case anybody would like to suggest one. I'm trying to just find the joy in things again, like in general, right? So, I often am saying like, oh, I should like open a book. Like I should just open it. Like maybe I should smell it. I don't know. Like I have a book on my nightstand. Like maybe I'll read it tomorrow. I don't know. But so it's do I have something right now? Not really. But it's like let me harass my cat for a while. Like maybe I'll go for a walk. Like I'm trying, but I'm relearning, so I don't have a solid answer other than I'm trying. I'm trying
that
to
is
not
a solid answer.
Yeah.
It's honest.
I'm not trying to make my career my life anymore, and that's been a hard thing to learn, or unlearn.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said like self-care has become so commodified, and I think it's really hard to untangle, especially as women, what is performative and what is truly feeding you. And I think that's what happened for me with exercise. Like, how do I get from a place where I got to work out this long for this many days to like, I'm doing this because, it's helping my body and my, my anxiety and my, inflammation and my things where it's like, it's beyond just like, I have to get on my fitness tracker and check these things off, or this is the book that I need to read. And I think as women, it's like, it's so hard to know when you're not just adding something to your mental checklist that just makes you kind of want to dissolve into a pile. And it's like a lot of actual work to figure out what is actually serving me. Yeah.
Yeah, I honor that. Absolutely. Thank you all so much for answering that question. I appreciate it. And as I'm listening to you all, I'm like, Kajette, what do you do? And I'm like, it's interesting. I have such a pleasure of working in a museum. So therefore, I can leave my office and go look at some art and take my eyes off screens and enjoy the creativity that's all around us. So that's, I think, a big thing that I've been doing more often is to get the heck up out my office and get up off my butt and go walk around in the galleries. So I encourage you all to do that too, because art is good for your mental health. It is.
We need like friendship walkarounds in the museum. Like
Totally.
just friendship walkarounds. Like
Yay.
I'll just gotta convene.
Please do. And let me know when you're coming. That's exciting. All right. So speaking of the Museum and Women, mentioned in my bio, and I'm sure all of you have seen the exhibition when it was here, but Nancy Elizabeth Prophet, who is the first known woman of color to graduate from RISD, we have the pleasure and honor of co-curating her first ever retrospective exhibition. It opened in Brooklyn last week. So I was thinking, as much as I was like knee deep in everything Nancy Prophet and became so incredibly inspired by her and her journey, I wondered if there's anyone here at RISD, present or past in your time here, that inspires you, and that'll be the last question.
Claire Robinson. I'm not kidding. This is for real. I've worked at RISD for 6 years, and one of my favorite things to do is support commencement, which is the first thing that I ever got to meet Claire doing. And so I know who Claire is. I don't think Claire necessarily knew who I was until I started doing housing things and had to be like, hi, when are your seniors leaving? Like, or like, when are your volunteers? When do they need to be here? When do they need to leave? But genuinely, like, I would go home and I'd be like, the person who like does these big events on campus is low key the coolest person I think I've ever met in my life. And so like, not to like put you on this like big pedestal right now, but you're absolutely on a pedestal to me. You are genuinely one of the coolest people and have been such an inspiration at RISD for me. So thanks for being here, and I've been so excited to like spend this time with you. I had my answer. I knew. I didn't even know this question was coming. I just knew.
It's not on the sheet.
I'm so sorry. We have more time. You know, I was inspired to add a couple more questions.
Oh my goodness. I have to think about this one a little bit. You go, Claire.
I want to do more. Can I do more than one? Absolutely. Okay. One is Ann Colasanto. Yeah. If you know, you know. Yeah. Ann does events and facilities stuff and like pretty much everything around campus, and is one of the best events people that I've ever met in my life, and I've met a lot. So she's an unbelievable force of nature, very kind, incredibly detailed, smart. Another one is Joanne Stryker, is a freaking badass. I mean, she's been here for, I don't even know, probably like, it got to be 30 years, heading up foundation studies, and she's queen to me. Also, her voice is amazing. I want her to read like some of those nighttime stories to put you to bed. And lastly, Karen Harris in Career Center is an amazing artist, is a wonderful person working with students, and just like really special to me, like a wonderful, supportive person. So I want to shout her out too.
Now I know we can do more than one. That's helpful. I would say Tuba Gadesi is really inspirational to me. I get to have really short conversations with her, our provost, and she's just this amazing sort of strategic leader, but also brings this emotional humanity to the work that she does. And I would love to kind of be like that one day. And she always brings pastries. 7 stars, 7, so that helps, yeah. I would say Alicia Luzon also is someone who, she is one of the most giving people I've ever met. She's always thinking about other people. She's always thinking about us, sort of like the systemic way to help someone, not just be like, oh, let's go make that person feel better by like patting them on the back. Like, how can we fix what might be broken in the system to help that person? And she always kind of like makes me want to believe in me more too. She's always really inspiring me to work harder and to think about others in a different way. So those are there's more, but
yeah, so many. Like I could go on
wonderful.
and on.
Did you want one more?
Nancy Severance in IT. Like definitely always I'm always in her G chat. She might not be in mine, but I'm in hers. Nancy, I need help. This thing broke. Help me. And Tracy Wells in dining and auxiliary services. She, another like IT guru, like application specialist, does all of the things for auxiliary services, is the reason that we have like the mail room lockers, like helped make those happen. So a lot of the cool stuff that you see happen on campus is done by women behind the scenes. And so those are my 2 other women on my list.
That's amazing. Thank you all thank you for being game, because I know I didn't send that question. But I was inspired to ask a question about inspiration. And this place is a special place to work in. It's unlike any other space, and really honored to share space with all of you. And I hope you feel seen and heard and valued in this place, because you are. And again, thank you all so much for your time, for supporting the panelists, and all those who put their time and effort into making this event special. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week and a good night and the rest of a Women's History Month. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate unapologetically. Thank you.
Okay. Just to close up, we have 5 minutes. You did great. I just want to, again, thank you all. We're celebrating you. As I was reflecting and listening and doing all the things, you mentioned a lot of themes that this is why the initiative was created. So back last year, the Google Doc that I mentioned earlier, it was a lot of women don't get the time, women don't get the space to be who you are. You're your job description when you're here, and you're not your whole self necessarily. We don't like our picture taken. We don't like talking about vulnerability. We don't get the space to do either of those things because we're usually behind the camera or listening to other people, right? So it's all those things, and it is uncomfortable. And so that was the reason we make you be vulnerable, and we take your picture and we give you, because you deserve space, right? You deserve space. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to be in community with each other and learn and be you. So that is what Women at Work is. And so I appreciate you all. And again, thank you all. If you don't know these women, there's more about them on the RISD website, risd.edu/women with an X. And their portraits are there. This was being live streamed. I don't know if I told y'all that. It's being recorded. So if you want to go back and watch and share with folks, you can share if people weren't here. It will live on the annual events page. So that is just for people who, if you want to watch it back, and share with others. But again, thank you so much. Please learn about them. They're incredible humans. All their info is on the website, and past folks from last year too. But yeah, enjoy, read until next year. You know what? Yes. So thank you again.